Did you know there's a state-of-the-art energy system that boosts performance and reduces muscle fatigue and beats the pain barrier, isn't banned and has no side effects?
The trouble is, so do the competition. I can feel the difference. Improve your performance, use Ergomax C150.
Ergomax C150. For more information ring 0535 667 088.
Very good evening then, and welcome to McLaren Field, Bramley, for this 7 times rearranged fixture in the Second Division Championship. The team's just taken the field, and the teams at the moment: Keighley at fullback is Wayne Race, Andy Stevenson, Dave Tanner, Nick Pinkney and Richard Francis, the three-quarters. Halfbacks Dave Creaser and Andy Ayres. Brendan Hill, Jason Ramshaw, Ian Gately, Steve Hall, Mark Brooke-Cowden and Martin Wood in the forwards. The substitutes for Keighley, Kevin Marr and Andy Bateman. And for Bramley, the fullback Ian Wigglesworth, Gordon Long, Kevin Bell, Dean Creaser and Richard Stead, the halfbacks, three-quarters rather. John Perks and Dean Blankley, normally a hooker, playing at the scrum half tonight. Andy Marsden, Paddy Lyons, Ian Faber, Dean Hall, Mark Laws, Roy Dewitt are the forwards, and substitutes Darren Lee and Gary Hall. The referee tonight, Mr. David Carter from Widnes. And in fact it looks as though Keighley have won the toss. They've elected to play from left to right to the empty end of the ground. Certainly plenty of noise coming from these Keighley spectators in the stand here with us. And Mr. Carter gets the game underway. Standoff John Perks doing the kicking for Bramley, straight to Wayne Race. Up the dark patch in the centre of the field. Dark because it's slightly heavy, although there's quite an amount of grass on the field. And it's Steve Hall going on a good bursting run and getting play almost to within 10 of the halfway line. David Creaser just slowing things down in the centre of the park there. Darrell, this is a very important game for Keighley tonight, isn't it? They've got to come back from that disappointing performance up at Whitehaven at the weekend.
Certainly have, John, yeah. Unfortunately I missed Whitehaven game, the local cup semi-final today, but like you said, they should win today and win well, really. They've got to get their confidence. Good break there, good football, that's what we need.
Nice ball out then to Mark Brooke-Cowden, out then to Nick Pinkney, but a forward pass. Mr. Creaser pulling back for the forward pass. But certainly nice football there. It was a good break through the centre of the park, I believe, by Dave Creaser in the first instance, and that pass coming out to Pinkney, adjudged to have been forward by referee Carter from Widnes. Informs then as Bramley put the ball in, out predictably to them.
And play just working its way across field into the centre of the 20-metre line for Bramley. And certainly the dark colours of Bramley merging well with the dark shadows on the field, Darrell.
Certainly have, John, yes. Like days of old here with the lights out.
The ball going to ground there. Knocked on though, says the referee. Bramley centre. They've actually turned the lights out in the stand, so we can't see a thing as to who's on the team sheet. Looks as though that was Dean Creaser just rescuing the ball. Ayres puts the ball in then. David Creaser finds Pinkney on the outside. Certainly Keighley will be looking to use the speed of this centre tonight, because the ground's certainly quite firm, and a lot firmer than I think they've been used to having in recent weeks. Mark Brooke-Cowden then tackled, but it's Jason Ramshaw now taking play towards that Bramley try line. He's 20 metres out as play goes out to the far side. The big fella Brendan Hill, he was injured, he was sorely missed on Sunday, as was his other prop colleague Ian Gately, but this is a run round between Ayres and Creaser. Ayres having a second bite at the cherry there, being allowed to get the ball out, but Wayne Race well wrapped up just outside the Bramley 20. Kick through there by Creaser for the chase. Full-back Wrigglesworth rather. And that Bramley player being driven back by that combination of Keighley's Steve Hall and Jason Ramshaw. Well, that was a complete mess of a play of the ball. There was nobody anywhere near him and he almost knocked it on. Last one coming up though, says Mr. Carter. Bramley still in their own half of the field. Back for Wigglesworth to put the ball down. As for Reggie Pardon, stead, but straight down the arms of Andy Stevenson. Stevenson getting back within 10 of the halfway. And the Ayres missing out David Tanner. And this is Richard Francis going on and run up the centre, turning, moving round, trying to evade those Bramley tacklers, but brought down 30 out in the middle of the field. Ayres on to Creaser. Creaser switches back inside to Mark Cowden. 4 tackles gone, says Mr. Carter. And it's Creaser acting half-back, using Ayres. Ramshaw on the dummy, still going is Jason Ramshaw, but the ball, in fact, gone to ground, recovered by Bramley right on their own try line. Ian Gately doing the tackling, but Bramley doing well to get the ball away. That's Blankney. And Mr. Carter penalising Keighley there for holding down. There's a signal, plain and simple. John Perks then placing the ball on the ground to take this free kick to make sure it gets onto the far side. Safely into touch, a good long kick there, taking play right up to the halfway line. Keighley to defend now, forming that line 10 metres inside their own half of the field. Wingman Gordon Long doing his utmost to get away from the Keighley tacklers, not able to do so though. And this looks like the prop Marson. The ball gone lost there. The referee's not seen it. Well, that's got to be a joke, Daniel. Is Mr. Carter up to his tricks, or that a touch judge is blind?
Well, touch judge wouldn't have seen it. It was wrong side for touch judge to see it. I thought Mr. Carter would have seen it, but if he wasn't looking, if he was looking at it offside, which I think he was, that's where he missed it.
Good run through there by Ian Paver, the former Heworth player, and of course with York after that. One a juggling act going on there by Dean Hall, but manages to readjust and keep it tight. But it's the last one coming up now for Bramley. And Blankney putting the ball up in the air. 2 Keighley players going for it. Wayne Race doing well. And it was the standoff John Perks who followed that kick. Ramshaw brings on Steve Hall. Steps out of the first tackle. Looked to offload, in fact, managed to get it away through the hands of Ramshaw to Martin Wood. He's found Francis on the far side. A slight hesitation there by Richard Francis, but nonetheless did well. He's inside the Bramley half of the field now. This is good constructive play by Keighley. Dean Creaser bringing on Martin Wood. Wood offloading back to Creaser, taking play outside. A quick acceleration there by Creaser. David Creaser's going. Has he got the legs to get there? No, he hasn't. Dragged down. A good tackle by the Bramley defence. and just a bit short of pace, and puff to finish off with there, but the ball moving quickly now, moves out. There should have been a try on, but Richard Francis, it wasn't a good pass from Martin Wood. He cut out centre David Tanner, and all Richard Francis doing well in fact to trap the ball with his toes, but Martin Wood ghosting his way through there. Two very good dummies there, bringing that try for Martin Wood. 8.5 minutes in. And in fact, I thought Darrell, maybe Martin might have been able to make it before instead of putting the long ball out to Richard.
Yeah, I did done with and been caught. Joe would have called him being greedy, but the pass out wasn't a particularly good one. Had it been a bit steady, I think we'd have scored a few seconds earlier. But all to the good, it's 4 points.
Yeah, certainly a good try eventually coming for Keighley. 8 minutes into the game, and the conversion attempt coming from the far side of the field, something like 10-15 metres from the left-hand upright. Dave Tanner then just steadies himself to the far side of the uprights. Measures it, but no, it's not to be. 4 points to 0 then, the scoreline reads in Keighley's favour. David Tanner just coming to the side of the field, looks as though it could be a Bloodbin substitution. And then in the meantime, play back underway again. Mark Brooke-Cowden getting back and clearing that 20 metres. Kevin Marr, the player going to come on for the Bloodbin substitution, comes in an onside position behind play. Martin Wood now breaking out, but brought down by Blankley. Keighley held up some 15 metres from the halfway line. These lines on the field somewhat confusing because other than the major lines, they should be dotted and they're continuous across the field, which doesn't help for spotting, but that's a good kick down, but straight down the throat of the fullback. Wrigglesworth though brought to ground 30 metres out. As Bramley now making inroads back towards the halfway line. Play then going down the centre of the field. And coming to the near side of the stand. Just a wee bit top half there. Keighley going to ground there as Dean Blankley now looks to go through the centre. Wayne Race comes and that ball bouncing back, and oh, now they're in for a try here. Well, they should be, and they are. Well, that was a lovely kick there by Blankley, Darrell. A superb kick through by the scrum half. Caught Wayne Race really in no man's land, didn't he? Came for it, but couldn't take it cleanly. And I think Jason Ramshaw just assisting that ball back from an offside position into the hands of Blankley for, I think, probably the loose forward to score.
Yeah, good try that, John. At least they're not just trying barging their head down. It was a nice little kick, like you said. They know that these lights are particularly good. Wayne went up, may have lost it in the light, may have jumped a bit too high for it, I don't know. Misjudged it, knocked on. Bramley picked up and scored. Good try.
Safely then through the posts for the conversion, putting Bramley into the lead by those 2 points. Gordon Long, the goal kicker. Dave Tanner then being patched up, Kevin Marr taking his seat back on the bench.
Martin Wood moving back into the push forward. That's how we did, Mike.
And Creaser kicking that ball downfield. Bouncing quite awkwardly there for Bramley, but just that bit too deep for the Keighley forwards to take advantage of that awkward bounce. So Bramley then working the way out on their own 20-metre line. And Bramley trying to break the way through the centre of the field, but unable to do so at the moment. Certainly showing a fair amount of enterprise in the play. 10 metres from the halfway line, right in the middle of the field as Blankley switches it across. Onto the standoff Perks, who kicks through, and it's a super kick is that. Wayne Race not able to do anything about it, and then goes and knocks on. Well, he'd all the time in the world there, Darrell Wayne. Could have controlled it probably by the foot, and I think he just took that bit too long over it, didn't he? And well, you saw the consequences.
Yeah, I think he was actually beating him for pace. It was going faster than he thought first off, and like I said, the ground's a bit firm. The ball was bouncing quite awkwardly for him, so he chose to leave it, but unfortunately left it too long.
And now it's Bramley's head and feed from that knock-on inside the Keighley 20-metre area, and they'll certainly be relishing the thought of extra points from this. That's a good run there by the number 10, Ian Paver, and Bramley certainly stacked there, but Blankley switching play across. Just going to ground slightly, and really that man ought to have been tackled. And it's got back to the centre of the field, right in front of the post, 7 or 8 metres out. And Blankley goes on his own from acting halfback. Lively character, this Bramley number 7. Normally plays in the hooking position. In fact, it was the hooker that went. That's Blankley moving the ball across. Perks goes the kick through for the chase, and in fact he's offside. I think he knocked on anyway, but he was inside the 10 metres. Mr. Carter spotting the fact that Wingerstead was actually in front of the ball, but nonetheless when it was kicked, and even so didn't give the ball 10 metres. Ball into touch then, just on that 20-metre line for Keighley. Jason Ramshaw, Ian Gately turns, spins, tackled round the head, having his head almost pulled off there by Dean Hall. Ayres, Brendan Hill, looking to offload to Martin Wood. Well, the crowd saw plenty, and the referee eventually... The referee, I think, responding to the ooh from the crowd there by the delay in the signal. Anyway, we didn't hear the whistle.
Yeah, certainly a delay then before Mr. Carter blow up, but number 8 went in at Brendan there, led with an elbow, found his head. Good decision in the end.
Mr. Carter failing to give the signal there as to why the penalty had been given. We have noticed this with the referee before. He tends to go to sleep when it signals, but Brendan Hill going in 10 metres inside the Bramley half of the field. Ramshaw acting half. Ayres misses out Hall, brings on Creaser. He finds Martin Wood. That ball wasn't intended for Nick Pinkney, and it struck him and giving Bramley the ball back. Paver again coming in, driving into the Keighley half. And loose forward, Dewitt going on his own, looking for the supporting man outside him, decides to take the tackle, 15 metres inside the Keighley half. Blankley finds Perks. Perks, not the best of passes to the player there, but Blankley there getting the ball, look forward. It was only just forward, but Mr. Carter in a good position to see the arm action, Darrell.
Yeah, I think you saw that on the arms, John. You couldn't tell, he wasn't in line to see what they were forward, but the arms certainly looked forward. I think that's what he's blown it for.
Scrum forming then some 15 metres inside the Keighley half of the field. Ayres to feed and get the ball out, going on his own from round the back. Loose forward, Jewett breaking away from that back of the Bramley, base of the Bramley scrum very quickly. And in fact Perks interfering there with Creaser as he tried to get the ball away. Almost a forward pass, referee not agreeing with the lone voice in the stand here. And it's Ayres going on his own once more from acting half-back. Has to turn back for the support. Brendan Hill gets the ball. Brendan Hill's going. The big fella's under the post. Well, that was almost 20 metres for Brendan Hill. Andy Ayres set it up, but he set it up, I don't think intentionally, because he was going and decided to look for support, Darrell. And there was, I think, Mark Brook-Cowden who fed Brendan Hill.
Yeah, Brendan realised that 20 yards out, you know, and he got a full head of steam up. Let's have a go, see what we can do. A nice little dummy. Wrong-footed in the defence. And in he goes. Good try.
And certainly that's just what Keighley needed to pull themselves back after that rather slack period after they'd scored the first try and when Bramley came in for theirs. That one coming then midway through the first half. Dave Tanner once more with a bit of an easier shot than last time. Successful this time. That puts Keighley into double figures, 10 points to 6, their lead. Bramley then in the shape of John Perks to restart following that Brendan Hill try. Good deep kick. Saved by the leg by Mark Brook-Cowden, stretching out, bursting through, looking for the support. None there for him. Ian Paver doing the tackling for Bramley. And certainly the second marker, Darrell, for Bramley, standing in no man's land really, must be offside. We'll probably see whether he does it this time or not.
Yeah, quite a few teams have started this, you know, second marker going in no man's land. You are offside, you know, you're supposed to be able to touch the man in front within reasonable distance, not back 5 yards, because that gives you an unfair advantage.
There now. The hooker, in fact, demonstrating quite ably there that he was a good 3 yards behind the first marker, and again. Well, certainly Andy Marsden seems to have set his stall out, Darrell, to sort Brendan Hill out.
Certainly has, John. Every time Brendan has a run, he looks to be looking for him. Where were we when Brendan scored?
Well, I suppose that's a question he's got to ask himself, because he wasn't anywhere near the fella, that's for sure, that time. But that kick going through for Keighley, being fielded by Gordon Long on the far side. And Bramley just creeping back into the Keighley half of the field. Ian Paver offloading in the tackle, and in fact Bramley still keeping the ball alive. Dean Blankney steps inside Martin Wood. And Paver coming at Steve Hall, offloads there to Perks, out then, referee completely in the way, gives a knock on, but that was, I think in fact the knock on there, Darrell, was caused by the referee getting in the way, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know, John. I think the pass came out and it looked to me like Stevenson on his hand. You know, he knocked it down and the referee being in the way, tried to get out of the way, lost sight of the ball for a second or two. That's when it was knocked on. Keighley lucky to get this ball.
Tanner dummy in to give the ball out there to Wayne Race. I beg your pardon, David Creaser. Race going on his own from the acting half. A number of Keighley players going on their own from acting half back in this game so far. And Brendan Hill going through the centre. The ball lost. Bramley regather. And fullback Wrigglesworth. Well, he did have the opportunity to part with the ball there. He didn't do so. And Bramley now coming down this touchline side. Good run there by the loose forward Jewett. Paddy Lyons dummy in, threatening to get up and run again, but not being allowed to, as Blankley now runs across the field, offers the ball. In fact, the man who winning possession, Mark Laws, just inside the Keighley 20 area, in fact just on the Keighley 20. Lyons at acting half back now, gets the ball across there to the supporting Paver. It's certainly a big fella to stop as this guy, and a lot of the tackling's being done by the centres. He's running out wide as a prop, and Perk kicks the ball through for the chase. It's a good kick, it's a good try. That was a super kick through, Daryl. It was a good kick by Perks. This Perks fella, he's got a lovely kicking game, hasn't he?
Certainly has, John. Yeah, excellent kick that, because he took Keighley on, he ran at him first, had 5 or 6 yards, and then kicked behind the defence. Keighley were already coming up, because with him running, once he kicked that, a turn, and Bramley were coming straight through. Nice little set move, that. Good try.
Gordon Long then, the man backing up and getting the points to bring the scores level. He's got a hard conversion attempt, but certainly Bramley playing far better football than the league position would indicate. And I just hope, I hope it isn't right, but certainly seems to be shades of complacency, would you think, Daryl, in the Keighley side?
Well, I wouldn't say that, John. I think you're right in what you said about Bramley. They're playing above themselves at the moment. They appear to be playing some excellent football, you know. And I've heard people talking about them, they've been to see him, and they said they don't throw 3 passes together. And they've confounded that tonight. They really have played well, I think, so far. It's up to Keighley to start knocking them down, making the first tackle count. That's what we're not doing. We're not making the first tackle count. Make it count, stop them parting, and hopefully we can get the 2 points out of it.
Well, yeah, certainly the number 10, Ian Paver, is causing some troubles as he's bursting through the Keighley defence. Gordon Long kicks that ball, but waved away by the touch judges. Scores level then, and 26 minutes on the clock. So then Keighley restart for the second time. David Creaser kicking to that far side of the field. Bramley driving in, and 3 tacklers ensuring that player not going any further on that occasion. Missed tackle again there, Darryl.
Yeah, 2 out of the 3 there. The first tacklers missed the tackle. I think that's what we just said is happening. Again, that's a technical Steve there. Tried to step inside, so that's 2 out of 4 where we've missed the first tackle.
And again, that's Paver. Paver bouncing off those tacklers. 3 Keighley players there. 3 tackles out of this set of 5 where the first tackle has been missed. And Blankley puts the ball high in the air. Wayne Race underneath it, spills again. And now we're going to see another Keighley, Bramley try. That's the loose forward there. Jewett. Ball moving out, they should score. But no, Well, the referee's eventually given it. And again, that coming from that high bomb in the air. Wayne Race spilling the tackle. Bramley's loose forward, Jewett picking up the bits and getting it out, I think, to Gordon Long on the wing again. Two tries in 2 minutes for Bramley. And in all honesty, I don't think Keighley know what's hit them.
They don't, John, yeah, like we said after the last try, we've got to pick up these first tackles. What's happening is we're not picking them up. People are turning in the tackle with 3 men missing the tackle, and 2 or 3 more men are having to come and make the tackle. It's putting 5 men to make 1 tackle. The ball's going out wide. That's your answer. But Wayne shouldn't miss his kicks. That's 2 he's missed now. Now, whether it is the bad light or not, I don't know.
Gordon Long then in the dimness at the far side, not converting that one. 14 points to 10 then, and Keighley looking to make a substitution. Martin Wood, the man coming off. Andy Bateman, the on loan player from St Helens, coming back on, or coming on I should say. David Tanner in fact gone into the full-back position. Wayne Race moved into the centre. Just a straight swap, and certainly David Tanner, no stranger to the full-back role. Martin Wood left the field. I should imagine we might see Andy Bateman probably go up into the second row, and Mark Brooke-Cowden drop back into loose forward.
First tackle being missed again.
Ball lost, has it? No. In the middle of the field then, Keighley trailing 14 points to 10. Totally unexpected, but you've got to give credit to Bramley. They've certainly taken advantage of every opportunity they've had, and they've capitalised on mistakes that Keighley have made. And again the long kick downfield and gone straight into touch, but Darrell remarked off Mike there that he lost it. I hadn't a clue where it was.
No, I lost it altogether, John. I saw it go up, then I never saw it come down. We were just watching Dave Tanner to try and find it. You know, it hit the ground before I saw it again.
And it's looking as though there's another substitution being required. The touch judge at this side got his flag up. The touch judge at the far side not helping the referee by telling him. Although, to be fair, the ball's not out as Keighley bursts through the centre there. David Tanner coming from the full-back position as Ayers gets the ball out there to Mark Brooke-Cowden. And on the far side, Richard Francis gets up, plays the ball. Wayne Race going in, searching for the halfway line. And Ramshaw misses out Hall, brings on to Ian Gately. Gately well tackled there as he goes through. Plays the ball, switch a play by Ramshaw to Andy Ayres, switch back in. No, in fact, just a run round in a circle by Andy Ayres. It's the last one coming up though, says Mr. Carter. Just see the white arm in the air. Well, he had to be offsided blankly there. I would have thought it looked to have struck a Bramley player and came forward. Referee not agreeing. And in the meantime, we've got Bramley coming into Keighley's half of the field, almost 10 metres in. Good yardage there as Richard Stead tackled 10 metres inside. Oh, and look at the hole down there for Lyons. Look forward to Jewett. That wasn't no. Certainly the ball to Jewett looked forward from Lyons, but not, said the referee. As the ball moves across now, Lyons taking the ball in himself. 10 metres out then. More enterprising play here by Bramley. 33 minutes on the clock. Blankney taking the ball across the field, again offering it, switching play back inside through Dean Hall. Beg your pardon, Mark Laws. Last tackle, fullback Wrigglesworth at the acting half position. On to Blankney. He moves the ball out to Perks. Perks framed as though to kick. In fact, it's David Creaser just dropping on that ball, securing it. And that's now the first tackle being made, if it does get made, before the ball's lost. Fortunately for Keighley, Steve Hall was on hand to pick the bits up. And it's Ramshaw. Bateman bursting through as Bateman. Ayres is with him. Ayres is clear. Ayres is under the post. Nobody's going to catch Andy Ayres. What a lovely break by Andy Bateman. He burst through those tackles. He showed the class he's got. And Daniel, this guy hasn't played for 2 years.
Yeah, excellent break that, John. That's what we're looking for, man, running hard and straight. With a bit of pace, and then when he got the gap, there's Andy Ayres on his shoulder. Excellent try.
And the crowd appreciative of Andy Bateman's contribution to that try finished by Andy Ayres. So then it's David Tanner looking to add the extras to the Ayres try. And it looks as though Bramley are also waiting to make a double substitution. Well, David Tanner puts Keighley back in. Well, they're certainly having some good restarts, Bramley, that's for sure. I mean, every restart has actually found the Keighley try line and been going like a rocket and on the ground, Daryl.
Yeah, going like a rocket and bouncing a lot of it, John, like that. It's picking up pace off this ground. Like we said earlier, it's beating them. You know, we're not used to it. Used to it going in at mud and sticking.
Just looking the way that ball held up in the air, it looked to me, in fact, as though there's a fairish breeze blowing down the field from right to left. The ball's certainly holding in the air, which would obviously account for these long distance kicks that Bramley are able to put in. But Lyons now trying his way through the tackle 10 metres out as Bramley now move the ball back in field. Blankney onto Perks. Perks, short ball there to the loose forward Jewett, being allowed to stand in the tackle and get the ball away. That's number 15 on, in fact. In fact, it was 15 Gary Hall, and Brendan Hill never moved there. He's held that Bramley player down, called the referee to him and said, stop it, for goodness sake, this guy's seriously injured. Looked to me as though it was probably twisted as he was tackled, Darrell. I don't know. He tried to offload the ball and he lost it, didn't he, really? And Keighley regathered it, but he stayed down, and Brendan's certainly very quick to see that there might be something wrong.
Probably screaming in Brendan's ear. I thought actually Jason pinched the ball, but that's why it lost. He looked it to me, looked to stretch it away, pull it away. Hey up, go for a stretcher. Yeah, I thought Jason pinched the ball there and we were looking to get it, but, you know, you've got to play to the referee's whistle.
Well, this is sad and bad news for Bramley, going to lose a player. Call for the stretcher, and certainly it won't help their rhythm. The stretcher eventually coming out. Well, the stretcher not required. The knee, in fact, probably. In fact, it was the substitute Gary Hall who had just come back on, who had just gone on. Probably the first touch of the ball, and badly twisted knee. Keighley now coming away. Bateman dips the shoulder as he goes into the tackle. Ayres moving the ball out now. Mark Brooke-Cowden skipping his way and being pushed all the way back, or 5 yards of the way back. Well, somebody's got to help him. Ramshaw. Ayres finds Hall. Hall tackled, can't go without those things. It's the last tackle. Brendan Hill putting boot to ball. And that's not a bad kick. Not a bad kick at all. In fact, the pressure's on. Not only wasn't it a bad kick, Dudley was there to do the tackling as well.
That's what it's about, John. If you're going to kick, you've got a bit of chase. Good chase, that.
Bramley coming away quickly. Quick play the ball there. Terrible missed tackle there. Jason Ramshaw, the culprit. The first tackle missed. Or the first attempt at the tackle missed as Bramley spin the ball out wide. Wrigglesworth just juggles, give Nick Pinkney the chance to come and tackle him before he can get into top gear. Paver tackle 10 metres inside the Keighley half. It's the last one coming up. The referee arm in air. Blankley once more kicks the ball high in the air for the chase. Everybody says, where on earth is it? Jason Ramshaw sees it come out of the gloom, puts the arms in the air, and it sticks. Nick Pinkney now striding across the field. Is he going to be able to get through the hole? Richard Francis in support on the far side. I think, yes, that's Richard Francis stepping through the centre. Keighley doing well to take that ball. Andy Ayres is through again. Ayres stepping into gear. He's going to run out one. That was a desperation pass out to Stevenson. The Bramley defence coming across quickly. Ayres just not able to outstrip that Bramley defence on that occasion. Ayres again. Long ball out there to Ramshaw. Ramshaw stuck with it round his knees. Who's he found? He's found a forward pass. Looked as though it was Brendan Hill he found. And there's a Keighley player down in the middle of that melee of players, Darrell.
Yeah, somebody having a breather there, I think, John.
Really seeking your opinion on the forward pass, actually, Darrell, but never mind. Oh, the pinch there. Andy Ayres diving on the ball, blankly too slow as Ramshaw now out to Pinkney. But Pinkney tackled 10 metres from that Bramley line. Stevenson brings on Hall. Hall struggles his way forward, but dragged back by those Bramley defenders, still just inside that 10 metre line. Somebody's going on his own. Andy Stevenson, in fact, saw the gap round the acting half, Darrell, and went in unopposed.
Yeah, good job of your work there, John. There can't be that long left. 42 minutes on the running clock, so good bit of quick thinking there by Andy. Good try.
And certainly that gives Keighley what they needed before half-time. I still can't help thinking, Darrell, that they're in for a mother and a father of a roasting when they get in to those dressing rooms during the break.
No, read him a piece of poetry, I think, John. Nursery rhyme, something like that.
David Tanner then 10 metres in from the touchline side, set that ball up just outside the 20 line. Doesn't look bad at all. In fact, it's excellent. Good conversion there by Dave Tanner, adding the extras to the try. takes us through to the half-time break. I can't see the scoreboard, I've lost count of the score at the moment, but be sure we'll give you it at the start of the second half. Half-time break over then, Bramley retake the field. The half-time score was Keighley 22, Bramley 14. The Keighley tries coming from Martin Wood, Brendan Hill, Andy Ayres and Andy Stevenson. 3 Dave Tanner goals. And the Bramley scores in the first half coming from Roy Jewett, a couple of tries from Gordon Long on the far wing, and one of which was converted by himself. In fact, it was Jewett's try that he converted. That gave the half-time score of 22 points to 14 in Keighley's favour. The crowd have had their discussions during the half-time break as to what's happening. Keighley got a substitute on. Kevin Marr, it is the man on. Have to have a quick look round and see who it is who's come off. Brendan Hill noticeably missing. And Creaser gets the game back underway. The ball going underneath Jewett's foot this time, into the in-goal area. Is he going to be forced back? Gordon Long forced back towards his own try line. Steve Hall and Ian Keighley, big tackle on Jewett there, the man misjudging that kick, and certainly the suspicions of the first half confirmed by the distance that that ball travelled downfield towards the try line. Andy Bateman doing the tackling there on Kevin Bell, and certainly knew he'd been tackled, did Bell. And again it's Bateman getting the ball in, but a nice ball out to Perks, an equally good ball out as well. Pinkney half miss it, well in fact getting the man, but Dean Creaser it was who managed to get the ball away, and it's Bramley now pumping that ball upfield. David Tanner not right at home in the full-back position, running round, skipping away from the initial attempted tackles. And where on earth's that ball gone? It's Steve Hall who had to go through. Looked as though it was probably kicked through from the tackle. It was. Referee, I think we're making a half an attempt to wash the windows. Oh, and Andy Ayres, dummy in there, atrocious dummy as far as Bramley were concerned from buying it. Tremendous break, he sort of offered as though he was going to give the ball out, stopped, and then came on. Creaser switching the ball back inside to Kevin Marr. Kevin Marr though being wrapped up by the arm, round the arms with Ian Wrigglesworth, the Bramley fullback. Ramshaw bringing on Keighley, the big fella running at the Bramley defence and being driven back by those 3 tacklers. Gets up, plays the ball to Jason Ramshaw. Neither of those markers standing square. Mark Cowden through like a train. Very old move, probably one of the oldest moves in the book there, Darrell.
Yeah, but it works, John, you know. Sucked Bramley in, they went for the man that would dummy running, slipped the ball back, excellent try, good try that.
And that's the way in which Keighley wanted to start this second half. Just over 2 minutes on the clock as they increased the lead by that Mark Cowden try. It was called support play, was that, I think.
The half-time substitution by Keighley brought on 14, Keith Marr, replacing number 8, Brendan Hill. This is out in the field.
David Tanner then just settles himself, draws in the air and plants the ball firmly between the posts and out of the ground onto the car park. 28 points to 14. John Perks then to restart for Bramley. Over the top of David Crease's head. Steve Hall getting the ball for the first run. Ball gone back, has it? No, the referee said it was spilled. Well, it certainly was spilled the second time because Jason Ramshaw put it down. So that's pressure from nothing. In fact, referee penalised, we think, Steve Hall, although Steve Hall ran back with his arms apart saying, "What me, sir?" Keighley then conceding the penalty. John Perks going for touch on the far side. Whoa, and you can certainly see the way the wind took that ball. Probably a bit of a hook as well, but I suppose the bottom line is it went safely into touch on the far side of the field. Looked like Stead there driving in. Ball turned back in for Marson. He gets the ball away, but stitched up there in the centre. Just that bit slow, moving the ball out wide. Lyons. Dean Creaser acting halfback. The call comes for up from the Keighley defence. Play coming towards this near touchline side. Bramley, of course, coming forward. Out to Blankney. Blankney tries to work some magic with that number 8. Oh, Marson almost there, but a knock-on given. So we go to scrum on that Keighley 10-metre line. Well, there's trying to get the ball in there. The referee saying, "Come back, I'll try and assist you and make this tunnel a bit bigger for you to find." Well, that scrum half should have been standing, would you believe, behind his own loose forward's feet, and he was nowhere near that line. So then Bramley in possession as loose forward Jewett tackled 5 metres from the line, just inside the touchline side, moving the ball across. Blankney gets the ball into number 12 Laws. Mark Laws tackled and a knock on, and Bramley at the moment just making 1 or 2 mistakes that are not helping themselves, but the scrum half Darrell, and I think Andy Ayres is guilty of it as well, supposed to stand as defending scrum half behind the back line of the scrum, aren't they? And referees have been reminded of it.
Yeah, it's a farce, Johnny, these scrums, we keep saying it. You know, if you look now, he can touch Andy Ayres there. As soon as he put ball in, he could touch him if he wanted. It's miles too close. Referee's got to get a grip.
Well, Ayres is away on that far side, but just brought down to ground. A bit of a juggling act going on there, but Andy Bateman hanging on to that ball. Ian Gately coming down the middle of the field. Offloads to Ramshaw. He gets the ball inside to Creaser. Creaser tackled, though, just inside the Bramley half of the field. The referee calling them back. They're not going back. The hooker was a mile offside as Steve Hall now takes the ball in on the charge. Throws it down to Jason Ramshaw. The referee says a knock on. Well, I can't say I agree with that. In fact, he's actually tapping his mouth, unless it must have...
Held.
Well, if he called held, Darrell...
Penalty. If Steve passed after he called held, it's a penalty. What he's probably saying is he passed as a shouted held, so it's a scrum.
Mr. Carter making them up as he goes. And Ayres pinches the ball, and he's penalised there for being offside. Just what we've been talking about, Darrell.
Yeah, the ball came out, went through the Bramley scrum half's legs, and he picked it up. It's a bit late, really. Been doing it all day.
Well, I suppose you've got to be as far offside as that for Mr. Carter to operate the rule, but certainly Andy Ayres was offside. But just as we've been saying, that's been happening throughout the game by the defending scrum half. Stead running inside, trying to take the ball and tackled 10 metres inside the Keighley half of the field. This is the big number 8, Marson. Gets up, play the ball. Jewett going through, a nice pass out there to the number 14. The referee doing well to get out of Darren Lee's way there, but he did so as Lyons gets the ball across now to Pert. Creaser feeding the ball inside, it's coming back inside still, it's still alive for Bramley. Got to be some crossing there. Has the referee penalised for it? I believe he may well have done. So that penalty for crossing safely into touch for Keighley on the far side of the field. A couple of balls on the field now as Keighley coming through, driving through the centre of the field, searching for the halfway line, but brought down 15 metres short. Gets up and plays the ball onto Ramshaw. He found Ayres. Stevie Hall on the rampage now, but not a long way forward. Gets up, plays the ball. Bramley not made that 10. A bad pass out there to Nick Pinkney. He was lying a bit probably too deep for a pass as flat as that. And Bramley regather. Lions, just a bit of a flop from Ian Keighley, being allowed to go and punished by the referee. Jewett gives a forward pass out to the wing, and the ball lost. Recovered by Keighley. And again, Jason Ramshaw now. Mark Brook Cowden. Tackled by Jewett and Creaser. I beg your pardon, by Bell. Bateman charging in. Ramshaw. Creaser, Ayres switching the play back to Marr. Marr comes up this side, feeds out to Francis. He's in no man's land, is Richard Francis, but he's spinning round, looking for ways through. Did extremely well there, did Richard Francis, under the circumstances. Andy Ayres, Ian Keighley. Keighley almost offloading to the supporting Pinkney, but in fact, not sure what the referee's doing here. Well, he's given a scrum down for a knock-on. The sort of signal he was giving, really, Darrell, was for laying on.
Don't know what I was doing, John. I thought I was staring up on a tee up myself and half asleep.
Well, it may well have been for what use the signal was, that's for sure. The player injured 14, I don't think constitutes. Is a loose forward, perhaps, yes. Well, surely, Darrell, they could drop another man in at loose forward, couldn't they? There's no need to hold play up for this. The man's well out of dangerous play area.
Yeah, John, they should do, you know. If he's bleeding, substitute him blood bin. If he ain't bleeding, put somebody else in at loose man and let's get the game underway.
Talk about speeding the game up. That's certainly doesn't constitute. Second row man he is, but even so. Knock on there, the referee actually doing very well to see that. There was a number of players around him, the basis of the Bramley pack in fact. But I think realising that the scrum half had, he saw him go down for it and then go down for it again. Ayres this time now. Out to Creaser. Creaser finds David Tanner. Looked a bit forward, but Richard Francis is in. Lovely finish there by Richard Francis. Looked a suspicion for forward pass from David Tanner, but Richard Francis didn't wait for the whistle because the referee didn't blow it and he scored, Dal.
Yeah, good try, John. Yeah, forward pass though. Looked good half yard from here. But you play it at whistle, I suppose. We play hell if it had stopped. Good try in the end. Well finished. Nice turn of pace there. Left the Bramley defence for dead. Good try.
David Tanner then with the task of putting the 2 on the 4 that Richard Francis popped in a moment or two ago. Well, that's drifting back again, but ooh, just shading the right hand upright. £32 points to 14, the scoreline reading then. That try coming 15 minutes into the second half. Perks kicking off. Ooh, that was a good kick and it bounced very kindly, really. Very much in no man's land. Marbrook Cowden offloading, but the ball going to ground. Bramley regathering. Did they knock on? Certainly looked as, in fact, well, I thought there'd have been a knock on there. Keighley were given a penalty for something. They played it quickly, and he's penalised Bramley again for being offside, and that's a good kick, a good touch-finding kick on the far side.
I think Jason picked up the loose ball and didn't look to have a marker, played it to himself, and the man was offside, tackled him, and that's why I give the penalty. But over in the darkness, probably on the camera, will get a better view than what we do, I think.
Ian Keighley then busting through those tackles as he makes his way into the Bramley 20. Ramshaw acting half. Bateman being used as that first driver again. Second drive from the first drive from the second tackle. Ramshaw going on the short side. Wide ball out there to Marbrook Cowden. The second rower just stopped and Ramshaw bursting through, looking to get through the that defensive line, but not successful. Not a good pass out to Creaser, that one. Taken way above the top of his head. He put the ball down, I think, for the kick through. And the outcome of everything is that Bramley get a penalty. Presumably for, well, holding down is what he's saying. Well, things eventually settle down. The referee's satisfied that the ball that's there is the one we're going to play with, and Bramley get play back underway. 30 metres out from their own line. Play the ball, Blankney switches play to this side of the field. And switching play, forward pass again. You could see that plainly by the line. But, a knock on.
I don't think the ball touched the ground there, and the Bramley players didn't think either. But he's probably give it because he missed the forward pass.
Interesting as well that both touch judges marking the defensive line. The defensive line is offside and the referee's not even bothering, so I don't see why he bothers having touch judges marking if he's not going to look at them. In the meantime, Keighley come away with the ball, tackled some 32 metres out from the Bramley try line. Steve Hall goes on a run, bursts into the 20-metre area. 18 metres short then. Ayres at acting half-back. Creaser gets the ball across to Ramshaw. Ramshaw dummies, brings it to Pinckney. Pinckney struggles, gets up, bounces over the line. Almost broke his neck as he was going through. He certainly lost his footing. Did extremely well to hang on to the ball and scored. Yeah,
he did, John. Only gets 3.2 though for style on that one.
Yeah, certainly a nice ball, Dal, you're just commenting there from Jason Ramshaw.
Yeah, he offloaded well. He hung on long enough, let Nick get into the gap, then offloaded to him. Good ball that. Give Nick a clear run. Had he been running instead of diving and all the rest of it. Still a good try.
David Tanner looks to convert the try. Looks good, it is good. And the Keighley substitution taking place as well, I think. Mark Brooke-Cowden, the man going to come off. Martin Wood, the man coming back on. Certainly a good display by Mark Brooke-Cowden. Greatly appreciated by the crowd as he came off. Martin Wood had time, I suspect, to sort things out on the bench. On a good kick, well taken by the wingman on the far side. I think Ian Keighley thought it might have been good going into touch, but it certainly went way above Ian's head. I don't think he could do anything about it anyway. Well, good use of the wind there as Paver now driving the ball in for Bramley. Keighley can't afford to relax. Well, he's lost that ball. Referee at the far side having to rely on the touch judge on the far side. Sorry, the referee having to rely on the touch judge at the far side to indicate that the ball had been lost by the Bramley player there, virtually underneath Mr. Carter's nose. Scrum just tidying itself up as Ayres feeds. Comes round the back of the scrum. Ball being dummied. Offered to Wayne Race. And that's Wayne Race taking the ball in. Tackle, gets up. Still being dragged down. That's certainly a penalty. 3 times Wayne Race was dragged back down to the ground. Ian Keighley, he had Nick Pinckney sniffing on his right hand shoulder there for that pass. Creaser going through the hole. Creaser's going. He's got the support to his left and his right. Andy Bateman. But Andy Bateman just, I think, losing the ball. Well, we wait to see what... There must have been a knock on both ways there. Yes, indeed. I think the Bramley man must have knocked on as well because that's the way the scrum's going. Certainly, Andy Bateman put the ball down. Bramley bringing play back to this short side. No way through there. Wayne Race and Steve Hall seeing that Paddy Lyons not having the opportunity of breaking through. Paver putting the ball back there. Marson having to pick it up, and the Keighley tacklers down on like a pack of whatever you want to say on him. Creaser on the far side of the field. Ball being spilled. Stevie Hall gathering in the middle of the field. Turns round. Sets on his way back. But tackled some 32 metres from the line, and Mr. Carter penalising Bramley. Penalising Bramley there for holding down. We don't want to go for goal. We need to get the points. Points difference could make a lot of difference at the end of the season. Steve Hall waits, gets up, plays the ball. Ramshaw. Bateman losing it, but still chasing it and making sure that the pack may have a chance of stealing this ball. The referee wanting, Bramley wanting to make what I think is the last substitution. Number 11 coming back on, Dean Hall. And full-back Wrigglesworth going off. 38 points to 14 the scoreline, and we got 24 minutes on the clock. Well, thought probably the ball being put down there, just having a look at the watch and saw the ball going the other way, but Bramley regathering. Play then some 28 metres from the Bramley line as they come forward. Blankney now over the far side of the field. Paver offloading inside to, it looks like Creaser. And the ball moving now across this line as Perks kicks the ball through. It's Keighley's David Tanner playing in the full-back position since those early mistakes by Wayne Race. Back to one, says the referee, as Stevenson comes through. A Bramley foot getting in the way there. And Ramshaw on a run round with Ayres. Goes round the back of Ayres, but brought to ground just over 10 metres inside the Bramley half. Well, the crowd is shouting for something. The referee or touch judge at this side not interested. Bateman going through. Offloads there, finds event, it's Andy Ayres. Ayres is through the gap, in for a try. Lovely ball again, that man Bateman doing the creating, Darrell. And David Tanner linking up well.
Yeah, excellent try that, John, that's what it's about. Shows where pace at the end there, Andy with the pace. The Bramley defence saw that he got a gap, saw it too late, couldn't close the gap, straight through, good try.
But the busting being done by Andy Bateman again. Breaking up the defence and the supporting play coming up. That's what it's all about. But give the bus, support the man in possession, and the points come from pace, from short distance like that. There's no way anybody can stop the pace that Andy Ayres showed. But all credit to David Tanner and Andy Bateman for the creation. Dave Tanner then in search of another conversion. Firmly again through the centre of the post.
A successful conversion by David Tanner.
Perks then again seeking that same kick-off. Ian Keighley underneath it. 44 points to 14, the scoreline in favour of Keighley. Looked forward from here. 1 or 2 in the crowd of the Bramley support. Think so as well, but Bramley regather the ball. Out then to Perks from Blankney. He finds the loose forward, the ball going to ground. And Keighley regather. Ian Gately, that man there, just tackled just outside his own 10-metre line. Kevin Marr struggling to get away from the... In fact, I beg your pardon, it's not Kevin Marr. It is Kevin Marr, yes. I'm used to seeing Kevin with 12, not 14 on his shirt. Ramshaw acting half-back, marshalling his troops behind as the ball played, and a good kick down for the chase. See the strength of the wind there. Ball eventually going into touch. The strength of the wind taking a great effect, and just looking who's up there with Andy Stevenson, Daddle, it's Steve Hall. First there to form the scrum. In fact, almost first there in the chase.
Yes, I think he fancies another try, John, like he got at Batley the other week.
Just short of 70 minutes gone in this second division encounter here at Bramley. 44 points to 14 the scoreline reading. Marson gets up, plays the ball. Perks managed to get the ball out to Bell, but he was caught in possession. Perks. Ball missing out to Paver there. It's the hooker, Paddy Lyons, having to do the difficult task of trying getting up the touchline side as Blankney gets the ball inside to stand off Perks. Long ball out, finds Creaser on the far side of the field. He comes back in field, gets into the Keighley half before offloading over the far side to the big prop Marson, I think, up in the line there on the far side, but it's the last tackle, it's the handover. But that was certainly a lovely ball out by Perks to find Creaser on the far side of the field as Keighley now bring the ball back towards the halfway line. Jason Ramshaw. Ayres finds Gately, just readjusts himself as he gets almost 10 metres inside the Bramley half. Ayres onto David Creaser. Gets up, plays the ball. Ragged defensive line there by Bramley as Ayres gets the ball out. Well, it looked forward. Keighley being allowed to continue. And in fact, a knock-on in the gloom over the far side. Certainly don't know what the camera pictures are like, but certainly the sight to the naked eye, Daddle, over that far side is abysmal, to say the least.
Certainly, John, it's a bit grim.
Only two of the lights working on those two posts, one on each. Barely up to what you might call training field standards. Marson then 22 metres out from his own line as Lyons goes back inside. Marson once more involved. Martin Wood doing the tackling there on Mark Laws. And it's Paver now driving the ball in. Offloads to, well, eventually out to Blankney. Blankney gets the ball out through the arms of Marson. Out onto that far wing, onto Long. Long now going up the far wing. Stead in support, is he? In fact, it's Dean Creaser in support, offloading into the centre of the field. The ball half intercepted by Martin Wood. It's counted back by the referee. Ian Gately doing well to keep out of the way there. In fact, I think it did touch him because the referee is... Well, no, Martin Wood probably touched it in the first place. That's why the count back came, but this is Paver on the Keighley 10-metre line. 44 points to 14 as Paver gets to his feet, plays the ball. Blankney held just short there. Gets up, eventually plays the ball, looking to get in on his own. Is he in? The referee's having a good look. He says not. It's a scrum down on the 10. It wasn't the last, so I think we'll be seeing Bramley's head and feed. Indeed it is. It was inside the first 5 tackles. Bramley to feed this scrum then. And it's out, a long ball across. Perks spreading it quickly over the far side. They've got the numbers there as Creaser. Ball goes across, quick, long ball. Lovely, fast, quick hands. Bramley forming a nice line out there. 2 wingmen on the far side. Stead and Long being found by the centre Creaser. And going in at the corner, as easy as you like, Daryl.
Yeah, that's all it is, John. Basic football. Scrum at one side. One long pass and steady, straight passing men going up to the man, offloading out. Beautiful try that.
And really coming from that initial long cutting out pass by Perks in the centre of the field, stand off.
Yeah, that's what I say, one long pass. Just kept him open all the way out. Good try.
Well, he gave it a chance, but the wind took any chance away from him there.
And that makes the current score Bramley 18, Keighley Cougars 44.
Ball plonked on the ground there, chasing her to catch the Bramley defence. On a super tackle there by Richard Francis on the big number 11, Dean Hall. And he's in there on the next tackle as well, is Francis. Assisted by Wayne Race. And it's Marson now. And really, for the last 5 minutes or so, Keighley been playing without the ball, Daryl, haven't they?
Yeah, we're having to do a bit of tackling, John. I think we found wanting occasionally now and again in it, so might do us good to get a bit of practicing at it.
Paver then almost to the halfway line before being brought down, as Blankney now spinning this ball out wide and quick. The chase for the kick through there, being regathered and being picked up. Oh, that again, a good try here by Bramley. David Tanner found wanted in the tackle, but it was a very, very good kick through. I certainly like the way Bramley do this. You know, they move the ball out quick. And then that little kick through, Darrell, catching defences unaware, and it certainly caught Keighley unaware. I think that's now maybe the 3rd or even 4th time in this game.
Yeah, like we said, John, all they do is they go forward with the ball, passing it out, and Keighley's coming up to close them down in defence. They kick behind the defender. The gap's there because the defence has got to turn, but we're not turning fast enough.
And Gordon Long now looking to convert that 3rd try of his. Which he successfully does, and certainly the scoreline 24 points to 44 in Keighley's favour. I think, in all honesty, Darrell, Keighley are making Bramley look a lot better than they are, aren't they? Regardless of what we say about Bramley's way in which they're moving it about.
Possibly so, John, but you shouldn't miss tackles, and that's what Keighley are doing. You know, you only get the rewards that you put into this game. At the moment, Keighley are putting the defensive work in, and it's showing in the scoreline.
Three minutes left then. Keighley really could do with a little bit of possession to just get some extra points on the board to nullify at least one of those tries. Ball almost been thrown anywhere there as Jewett being asked to clear the mess up at the back of the line. Perks in the centre of the park. Gone quiet then, the crowd gone totally quiet now as Bramley working their way back to the halfway line on the last tackle. Blankney puts the ball up high. Well, he had to be offside, Daddle. Lyons had to be offside there, the hooker, surely to goodness.
Well, only by about 10 yards.
But it's weak tackling again there. Stevenson bursting his way through. Still going is Stevenson. Eventually falls. Andy Ayres has got to him. Been pushed down to the ground 2 or 3 times now as Andy Bateman going in, looking for his try that he so justly deserves, I think. Jason Ramshaw, ball out there. Martin Wood spills it. In and out then to Bramley as Keighley wastes the opportunities. They're one of the rare opportunities they've had in the last 10 minutes with possession. Wasting that chance of putting at least another 4 points on the board. Blankney getting the ball across to Paver. Paver skipping out of the tackle. The first tackle missed. Going back to that period in the first half, Daryl, when the first tackle's been missed.
Yeah, that's all we've done for the last quarter of an hour, John. Keep missing too many tackles, certainly the first one.
A little bit of a knock on there by Kevin Bell. Very nearly 40 minutes, the last 10 seconds of normal time in this game. Scrum down then, some 20 metres out. Ayres feeds. Comes out the back as he gets the ball across now to Creaser. Creaser finds David Tanner joint linking up in the line. Bramley all over Tanner there as Ayres now finds Wood. Wood gives the ball to Ramshaw. Ramshaw's going. Ramshaw's still going, but he's brought down just short. Didn't have the power to get there. Oh, and that's a terrible pass from Martin Wood. He's having an absolute nightmare. Fortunately, Bramley knocked on, Darrell.
Yeah, we're bad past that, John. You know, I try to stand up to pass. You've got to pass off the floor when the men round you like that.
Ayres then into the scrum, comes down the short side. Oh, Richard Francis, nowhere to go there at all. The second row being well away from the scrum and certainly well off the mark as well. There was the number 8 Marson. Steve Hall having to struggle away there to get free to play the ball as Ramshaw. Ball out there. Nick Pinkney on like a train, but met like the buffers in the end of a station. Up and plays the ball. And in fact it's a penalty. Quick tap there by Jason Ramshaw. Ball out there on the far side. Stevenson's in the corner. Bad discipline there by Bramley, leading to that try, Darrell.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately for Bramley, like I say, a bit of bad indiscipline for them. I think if the developers out for another 2 tackles, it'll be all over. I don't think they'll be out else now after this attempted conversion. But 4 points to Keighley.
48 points to 24 points, and the scoreline currently reading. We've seen tries then, 2 from Andy Stevenson. We've seen 2 from Andy Ayres. We've seen Nick Pinkney go over. We've also seen Richard Francis score. Added to that, there was one from Brendan Hill, Martin Wood, and also one to Mark Brook-Cowden. So then Dave Tanner with probably what will be the last kick of the game. 2.5 minutes into stoppage time in this second half. Could take the points to 50, but may well have to settle for 48. We'll have to see. Hook to the side. There goes the final hooter, as predicted then. The final score here at McLaren Field, Bramley. Keighley Cougars 48, Bramley 24. Certainly, Darrell, at the end the scoreline was right. Bramley justly deserving the points they've got. Certainly Keighley had to went through a very difficult part in the first half with some very poor tackling leading to those quick Bramley tries. Coming good though in the end.
Yeah, you got the score, John. The Keighley did well to get 48 points, but a bit disappointing that we let 24 in. I think most of the spectators think the same as well, you know. It's no good scoring them yourself if you let them in as fast as you can score them. So tighten the defence up now.
Final score then, 48 points to 24 in Keighley's favour. We'll be at Swinton on Sunday. Hope you can join us.